I want us to really understand this idea of product placement, right? And I mean, eventually you have to kind of respond to product placement, meaning like you have to come up with, do you think it's ethical? Do you think it's not? Like, what do you think, right? What's the most, oh, this is a good one. So what's the most frequently used word in slogans? What do you think? So this is based on a scientific study. Like after they reviewed all of, or many, many, many slogans, what do you think is the most frequently used word? Like this word appears the most in slogans. You and best. So the answer is you, right? Meaning that what? What do you think these advertisements are trying to imply by using the word you a lot? Philip, what do you think?
It feels like it's gonna be like they're gonna be the most important, I guess.
Right. So the commercials, the advertisements try to say, we value you, right? This is the product for you, right? So let's talk about this critical response. So here's the sort of format slash template for the critical response. So critical response is basically a summary plus a response, right? So this is the structure of a critical response. So you have an introduction paragraph, right? As always. And in the introductory paragraph, you're going to state the author's thesis of whatever reading passage we read, plus your own thesis. So in a minute, we're gonna talk about like what's the difference between the author's thesis and your thesis. And then you're gonna have a paragraph of summary plus analysis, right? So in the summary, so we worked on the summary last time, right? We practiced summary on Monday. So summary is basically what you're outlining the main idea, you're talking about the supporting ideas, the what, the who, what, where, when, how, like those things would be the supporting details, right? So you'd say like the author argues that, the main point is like we did this. But today we're also going to talk a little bit about analysis, and we're going to use something called soapstone, right? So we're going to practice soapstone, and then we're going to apply soapstone to the Netflix article that you read for homework. And then we're going to sort of add a couple of sentences of analysis into your summary paragraph, right? Just to make it a bit more whole. And then the second body paragraph is going to be your response. So response is, what you think, how you would answer this article, right? So the summary and analysis is more objective, right? You're telling me like what there is. But the response is all you, right? But because this is a critical response, how is that different from a regular response? Well, a critical response is not just you saying, I think, right? But it's really asking a lot of questions and not necessarily like strong, explicit opinion, but it's more explaining why you think so, right? So we'll look a little bit at, what this response would look like, and we'll practice it with something else, right? So here you're going to critically state what you agree or disagree with. Once again, critical does not mean that you're criticizing. Critical means that you are asking really deep questions, or you're thinking about very deep things, right? You're going to explain your ideas, and then you're going to assess the article. So is the article persuasive? Is it clear? Does it meet its purpose? Do you think maybe the author is kind of making a generalization? Is the author being biased, et cetera, et cetera? And then the conclusion is restating your thesis, paraphrasing it though, and summarizing your main idea, right? So all in all, this is going to be a 4-paragraph essay, right? Like if we wanted to make it 5 paragraphs, we could make the response 2 paragraphs and have you respond to 2 different things. But I think we'll go for the 4-paragraph today or this week. So here we have, so like I said, let's talk about what's the difference between author's thesis versus my thesis. Well, the author's thesis is the author's main idea or point of an article or reading passage, right? So for the Netflix thing, we had the main point of the article, right? Your thesis is, well, you didn't write that Netflix article, right? So your thesis is, what are you trying to say in your essay about the reading passage, right? So those are 2 different things. So let's think about like a T. So I have not, once again, I have not watched Stranger Things, right? It's on my watch list or my list or whatever it is that they have on Netflix, but I keep pushing it back, right? So Philip, summarize for me Stranger Things in like 3 sentences.
I'm sorry, but I never watched Stranger Things.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I know it's kind of
Natalia,
depressing.
Natalia, summarize Stranger Things for me in 3 sentences.
In the place where they live,
Mm-hmm.
there's like another side,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess like there are monsters there, and then the monsters like took one of the kids in the first season,
Mm-hmm.
and they found him at the end of the first season,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the second season, everything just got worse with the kid. But then like the second season is like hard to explain, and then
Okay.
the third season, finally like 11, the girl that they find, she
Mm-hmm.
closes like the gate to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But in the third season, at the beginning, they show like, and then these like Russian people are opening the gate again.
Mm-hmm.
So then they take like a new host, so like a new bad person, and
Mm-hmm.
that whole entire season is about the Russians. Like,
Oh, so it's a lot more complicated than I thought.
it's really cool. The third season is the best.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of like the synopsis of the thesis of the show, right? So then if Natalia were to write an essay about it, right, how she feels about that show would become the thesis of Natalia, right? So what the reading passage that we read has its own thesis. And when you write this essay, you have to have your own thesis, right?